Well, hello there. Welcome to a long overdue episode of Peace, Love, and the Voice. It's been like 3 weeks since I made a video. I apologize. Maybe more like 2 weeks. This would have been like the third episode I missed. So it's just been a lot of videos. I do an idol video and work and have a baby. So life is not always predictable. But I'm here, and I just got done watching the Battle Round number 2, so we're gonna quick catch up on what we've missed. Well, you haven't missed it, what I had missed talking about. Get us up to speed, and then hopefully I'll be able to keep up with these. Once it gets to live shows, I'm gonna be doing like 4 videos a week. I'll be annoyed with me. I'll be sick of me. Will you be sick of me? Anyway, so what we missed so far here at Peace, the Love, and the Voice was the last. Oh, maybe it has been 3 weeks. I think I might have missed the last 2 blind auditions and battle round last week, and now we're up to today's battle round. So what I thought I would do to make up for it was just quickly go over who made it, what the teams looked like before going into the battle rounds, and just, tell you who my favorites are and how the teams were looking before going into the battle rounds, and then talk about last week's battle rounds because I think there's only 5 or 6 battles per episode, and then tonight's. So I'm trying to make it too long, but I do see that a lot of people are watching, so I am excited that it's apparently kicking ass in the ratings. And American Idol is at its lowest ratings ever, basically. So who knows? And did everyone see that ABC is coming out with a singing show this summer? They're like, we need a show too. So now CBS just needs to get back on the bandwagon. I was a huge fan of Rockstar. But I guess after both of the bands tanked, they didn't want to do it anymore. So off we go. So after the blind auditions, I apologize to anyone who wanted to debate over people that they saw, but I just don't have time to go back and redo all of that. So at the end of the blind auditions, Adam's team, we all know that Adam is my favorite, but his team isn't shaping up to be my favorite this year, which is sad. But I don't really base who my favorite singers are off of whose team they go to. He just so happened to get Javier last year, so he has Tony Luca, who we met way back in the first blind audition, who everyone seems to love. He hasn't convinced me yet. I know I will not be a very popular girl for saying such, but I don't know. He definitely has talent, just not my cup of tea, maybe, or I don't know. I'm just not feeling him play. I'm feeling some other contestants in the game. He also has Angel Taylor, who I like. I think she definitely has potential. Be happy to see who she gets paired up with in the battles. Chris Cawley, who we'll talk about in just a few minutes. Katrina Parker, who I do like. She was very dressed up for her audition. She had the short blonde hair. She's got a really cool tone. Definitely enjoying her. Matai, who's one of my favorites. I love the quirky voice this year for some reason. That's usually not who I go for, but she did Rumor Has It, and I really liked it. Carla Davis, who we didn't get to see all but 30 seconds of her blind audition, so she's really going to need to sing her butt off to win the battle, and then if she makes it to the live rounds, we haven't had the same connection with her, so it'll be difficult, I think, for her to survive that. Pip, who I am not a fan of. I hope he gets his fucking suspenders burned off in the battle round. Not a fan. Nicole Gallion, who's a piano player who definitely needs some work but has some definite potential. Nathan Parrott's another one who we only saw a couple seconds of, so I can't really give a fair assessment of his talent, but from what we saw, it sounded good. Kim Yarborough, who's soulful R&B singer. Whitney Meyer, who has the family band, and we'll talk about her here coming up. and Orlando Napier, who is also on the piano, and I really liked him. So that's Adam's team. I think he's got a pretty decent team. I don't remember really not liking anyone last year, and I really don't like Pip. I just don't get it. So next up is CeeLo's team, and at the end of the blend auditions, he had Juliet Sims, who's the rocker, who did Oh Darling, and her voice is right up my alley. Definitely like her. Jamar Rogers, who is in my top 2. Love him. Love his story. Love his tattoos. Love his voice. Love him. James Massoni. Oh, James Massoni, the little kid. Maybe 12 from Boston. Love him. Haven't seen him yet. Sarah Golden, who is the folk singer that they did Would You Take This Person game in the blind auditions. Angie Johnson from the military, not a fan of her attitude, but we'll talk about her in a minute. Jamie Lono, we'll talk about him here coming up in a minute. Aaron Martin, who I love. Quirky, sang Hey There Delilah. Thought I was gonna hate her because she seemed a little crazy in the before auditions piece, but loved her. Justin Hopkins. Can't say that he's sticking out to me. That's not a good thing. The Shields brothers. I could do without them. Okay, sorry about that. So the Shields brothers, I could do without them. They were annoying, personality-wise, in their package, and they weren't anything special for me, but we'll see. Tony Vincent. He's not ringing a bell either. Ooh, friggin' slacker. Chessa, we'll talk about her in a minute. And Wade, the love. He's probably at a top 3. I know I just said top 2. Loved him. So then Christina's team at the end of blind auditions was Jessie Campbell, Monique Benaboo, Ashley De La Rosa. No, I thought I'd mixed her up with Angel Taylor, but I didn't. The Line, again, not a huge fan. I think maybe I'm not a huge fan of duos for this show. Maybe that's it. Jonathas, I really like him. He sounds just like Usher. Anthony Evans, love him. Chris Mann, the opera singer, we'll talk about him soon. Moses Stone, the rapper. He wasn't my favorite because he picked a Black Eyed Peas song. I'd rather kill myself than have to listen to Black Eyed Peas. Jeff McBride, who we'll talk about in a moment. Lindsay Paveo, we'll talk about in a moment. Lee Cook, we'll talk about in a moment. And Sarah Hill, we'll talk about in a moment. And then Blake's team at the end of blind auditions was Ray Lynn, who we'll talk about in a little bit. Aaron Willett, who was really good. Jermaine Paul, he is the cocky Alicia Keys background singer. Alex Loy, who we saw a snippet of her, so we'll see. Jordan Rager. Oh, he's very, very country. I only saw a piece of him too. Gwen Sebastian, the country lady with the short hair. Naya Keeley with the dreadlocks, I like her. Lex Land, who we'll talk about in a moment. Jordis, my number 1 frontrunner, who we'll talk about in a moment. Charlotte Sometimes, who we'll talk about in a moment. Brian Fuente, who we'll talk about. And Adley Stump, who we'll talk about in just a few minutes. So that was the team. Lots of weird noises going on here. At the end of blind auditions. There were a couple people in those last couple audition rounds who I thought maybe deserved a chance, but let me tell you what, if I were to be on that show, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to be at the end because they are super picky. And they probably would have picked some of these people had they been in the beginning. And that just sucks. So, moving on to the battle rounds from last week, which was March 5th. Sorry, loud people. The first battle was Tony Luca, Teen Adam, and it was Tony Luca versus Chris Cawley, and they were singing Beautiful Day by U2, which another thing I'll probably get flack for not a huge YouTube fan. And I feel like that Bono is not a singer's singer. I mean, you can take any song and make it your own, but he's stylized. He's not like, how do I say this without being really like a singer? You know what I mean? So I hated the song, and yeah. So Alanis Morissette was a mentor for Tony, who had a terrible shirt on. I don't remember what it looked like, but I just said it was terrible. And then Robin Thicke was a mentor for Chris. Overall, I felt like Tony tried way too hard. When a singer tries too hard, it is never a good thing. Chris's lower register was more accurate. I liked the tone of Chris's voice more. He was just more my cup of tea. I already went into the battle liking Chris more than Tony, and I honestly just thought he outsang him. But here starts the season 2 of The Voice, should be called the ticking me off season, because I've never been so wrong on so many battles. Last year I used spot on. This year, not so much. So I would have liked for Chris to have won, and that's not the case. Tony won the battle. I think backstories and how long they've been trying in the business and things like that probably also factor in to the judges' minds, and it's also who their cup of tea is. That's why people like different people. There would only be 5 singers in the world. It all comes down to style, and if they like your style more than someone else's style. What is this? Sorry, I'm in like my PJs. I look like a garbage can. So I was not happy with that battle. Then next was a battle for Team Blake, which was Adley versus Raylan, and they did "Free Fallin'" by Tom Petty, which I thought was a good song choice. Adley's like a belter, a country belter, who's only been singing like professionally, I guess he's like out and whatever, for 10 months. And Raylan is like super stylized, and she's young, but she's been at it for a while. I think she quit school, like did homeschool and shit, to like get out there. So Miranda Lambert was mentoring for Raylan, and Kelly Clarkson mentored for Adley, which I thought was a really good mix. I thought they were both, in the battle itself, they were both shaky on their big notes. And for me, I like the other stylized voices left in the competition much better than Raylan. I just didn't feel like she was even really strong. But there's one thing that Blake's like, Blake likes, it's a stylized voice. Last year he had Vania and Dia, who were super stylized. So although I wanted Adley, because I thought she sang it better, I had a feeling that he would go with Raylan because that's the kind of voice he liked. And he did. We'll see. She's Taylor Swifty for me. I don't think Taylor Swift has a great voice by any means or stretch of the imagination. Her voice is run of the mill at best, and I think that Raylan falls in there. She probably writes good catchy songs for teenagers to relate to, but voice-wise, I just thought Adley sang it better. She's more my country voice. Well, cup of tea, I guess. So next was Team Christina, and she paired up Chris Mann versus Monique Benabou. So that was like the opera singer versus like I guess she's R&B-ish kind of girl. And they got "Power of Love" by Celine Dion, which is a very hard song to sing regardless. Chris like killed it in rehearsal. He can definitely sing other styles of music, so he needs to like open up his mind away from the training and just sing. Lionel Richie was mentoring Chris, and Jewel was mentoring Monique. I didn't like Chris's outfit in the rehearsal for the battle with the yellow pants. I just thought I'd note that I wrote it here. The duet as a whole for me sounded really sloppy and disjointed, like they took two separate renditions of the song and mashed them up. I didn't like it as a song together, as a performance. Monique was flat for most of the whole performance, and she has terrible breath control. And I felt like she was behind the music. It was not good for her. Chris wasn't great. I just thought that they did not mesh well together. Maybe that was it, but he's definitely better than she was. So my vote was for Chris, and whoa, what do you know? I got one right. Christina picked Chris. I think she would have picked Monique under any other circumstance if she would have done anything right. It was a train wreck. Like, technically. Maybe if I went back and listened to it, maybe it would. I don't know. I didn't like it. So next up was Team CeeLo. It was Chessa versus Angie, and I'm not an Angie fan. I got a very bad vibe about Angie's attitude in her original audition. I thought her rendition of Heartbreaker was very, like, so what? Shouty, pitchy. I liked the tape that they found of her singing Rolling in the Deep for her troops better than her audition. But I didn't like her attitude. Listen, I'm all for the troops. Like, thank you so much. Much respect in the world, but it doesn't automatically mean you're the best at everything. Like, she automatically, in the rehearsals, was getting mad because she thought Chessa was trying to out-sing her. Like, relax, Angie. You're not going to get everywhere just because you're hot, okay? They got Total Eclipse of the Heart, which I love that song. I thought it was great. And I thought it was weird how she was trying to change the key. Like, if you don't have to change the key, don't. Keep it as recognizable to the public as possible. I think that's in a fine key. Stand up for your lower register. So they were like going at it, like, oh, do you want to raise another key? Do you want to raise it another half step? Babyface is the mentor for Chessa, and Neo was the mentor for Angie. And I didn't like the way it sounded moved up. But I like their harmonies, and I liked the song with them together as a whole. But for me, I just like Chessa's voice better than Angie's. I like her that deep, and then she can come up to the tip top of the alto range and just belt it. Love her. So, whoa, what do you know? I got another one right. CeeLo picked Chessa. Then we were on to Team Blake's pairing of Jordis, my favorite, and Brian Fuente, who's a rock singer that we only saw a little clip of. And they got Ironic by Alanis Morissette, which, again, is not really a singer song. Alanis Morissette can sing, but she does have a lot of songs that are difficult to, like, bust out and, like, win a battle with. So Kelly Clarkson was mentoring for Brian, and Miranda Lambert was mentoring for Jordis. I'm a huge Jordis fan, and I think she did well. She's capable of so much more than she's showing now. I really hope when she gets to to the live shows, she just lets it go. Look up this bitch on YouTube when she was on Rockstar in Excess and listen to her cover of Heart Shaped Box. That's all I have to say about that. Or Imagine, or Knocking on Heaven's Door. Or Teenage, what the hell is that song called? I just call it Teenage Wasteland because the name of it is so stupid. Baba O'Reilly. Look those up. And you'll see that she is holding shit back. But for me, the whole thing was kind of not as big a mess as the judges ended up saying, mentors, whatever, said it was. I really and not because I love Jordis, but I just didn't think it was in Brian's comfort pocket. And I didn't see where they thought she was really shaky. I mean, she has an issue with the trailing off of notes at the end, but I just love her, and I'm so glad that she won. Watch out for her in the live shows, I tell you. I'm gonna be voting like a fiend, so. Oh, and they ended it in a weird place, but I don't know if that was the editing or what. Like it ended on a weird part of the song. So last up for last week's battle round was Team Christina, and it was Anthony versus Jesse, which is just like powerhouse versus powerhouse. Like, how can you even pick? And they got If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys, and there's really nothing else to say except the two of them sang the shit out of that song. It was like church, I think they said at the end of it, but like good church. Oh my god, it was so good. For me, I mean, they both did amazing things. I like Anthony's voice better. It just came down to like whose voice do I like better. But oh, I'm so tired and I'm a little bit cranky, so I hope I'm not coming off as a total bitch. But Jesse. Jesse's been around. He was like living in the car. Like this is where I think the backstory for him, like they might have thought like maybe he needs this. It's like a last shot, whereas Anthony's younger and can still get famous another way. So I would have went with Anthony personally if it was my battle, but it's not my battle. I'm not famous and no one cares. So Jesse was the winner of that battle. So I was definitely ticked off by a couple of those battle winners, but I can't really complain because my favorite made it. So that's where we are with that. How did you feel about those battles? I saw a lot of Facebook comments that people were equally unhappy. They were like unhappy about like the ones that I was happy about. I was just confused. So that brings us to tonight's battle round. We're just gonna slide through these real quick. First up was Jeff McBride versus Sarah Hill, Team Christina. And they were singing Chain of Fools, which I thought was a great song choice. For me, I feel like Jeff has a much more unique sounding voice. Like, who literally can blow Lionel Richie like off of a piano stool? Like, he just has a cool tone. I think in the actual battle he was subdued. He didn't do like the same cool things I saw him do in the rehearsal. I didn't like the song Together. The harmonies were cool, but it wasn't like the greatest battle of all time. And I felt like Sarah started off the song sharp and was trying way too hard. She did much better things in the rehearsal when it wasn't such a pressure situation than she did on that stage. I just felt like she didn't bring it, or she brought it too hard and passed the good stuff. So I would have went with Jeff, but she went with Sarah. I don't know if that was because they had a good connection or whatever, but I was pretty upset about that one. Ooh, I don't know if I have these in the right order, so I apologize. I'm just gonna, because I didn't take notes during the actual show, I just went back and wrote things afterwards, so doing a bunch of shit. The next one I have on my paper is Juliet versus Sarah Golden. And I really like Juliet. She's got a gritty, like southern rock kind of voice, which is like right up my alleyway. And Sarah's got more of like a folky Indigo Girls thing going on, which I love too. Don't get me wrong, but I can't for the life of me remember what the name of the song is. And Skylar Lane just sang it on Idol 2 weeks ago. Like, I just can't remember what the name of it is. And I'm too tired to deal with it. But I like the song. And, I mean, Juliet just overpowered Sarah really. It sounded like a really good duet because Sarah held down the lower end. And it sounded like a group, like where that's what her role was. Not so much as a standout in the front performer, but as like the lower harmony girl. I wasn't overwhelmed with Juliet's performance, though. I think it was not her best. But she just ate Sarah alive. Christina was like, it is a no-brainer. Like, whoa, you don't have to go that far. But I like the grit she has in her voice. I like her look. I like it. So I would have picked Juliet, and Juliet did win. So we'll see. Song choice is going to be very important for her in the live rounds. And I thought her boyfriend was cute. I don't normally like goths with longer hair, but as goths with longer hair go, he was pretty cute. Alright, so next up was, well, I don't know if it was next up. I think it was Kim Yarborough and Whitney Meyer. Team Adam. And my thing about Kim Yarborough is she can definitely sing. She just doesn't bring anything really new to the table to me. She's like a lower end alto. And her voice is big and booming and everything. It just, like, Frenchie has the same kind of voice, but at least her voice had like a cool tone to it for me. Kim is just like, alright, like, I hear that voice on the radio already, you know, and it was from like the 80s and early 90s. Not so much now. Whitney has like a cooler tone, and you know, that for me, I just like her style better. But I mean, picking the song "No More Drama," you had to know that people were going to go right for the "I've lived a longer life" card, and I've been through things, and she hasn't been through anything. Blah, blah, blah. So I think Whitney was at a disadvantage for the whole time. I wasn't a huge fan of either of the choices that either of them made, the changing of the melody and everything. I thought the whole thing sounded verging on terrible until they got to the end where they were singing "No More Drama." That part was really good. Their harmony was really good. But up till then, again, I felt it was two different people singing the same song at two different times, and they just took it and tried to mash it up. I was not overwhelmed with the performance of that song. I mean, Whitney definitely was weaker in the performance, but I like her voice more, so of course I was hoping that she might pull away just with the uniqueness factor, but the power overtook it, and Adam chose Kim, and she suit. But hopefully we'll see Whitney in the future, because I do like her. I think she might have been on my team, on my Facebook game. Oh, my back. So next up was, oh, I think somewhere in there what I missed, I think this one was actually before the one it did, was Lex Land or Charlotte Sometime. And they got Pumped Up Kicks. I would have left the competition. I got this song. I'd be like, no. Talk about not a singer song. I know they both have different voices. I guess they call them indie voices. But, I mean, any schmo off the street could have sung that song. I don't like that song. So, the battle as a whole, for me, again, the performance just, as a duet, it was not good. Lex did take more risks. Blake was definitely right about that, and I liked what she did more. Something about Charlotte's tone annoys me. It's like throaty or something. Yeah, maybe it's throaty. I don't know. and I don't know. Maybe she'll come into her own in the live rounds when she has time to practice the song that she chooses or whatever. But I would have gone with Flex because, and I thought that Blake was going to, based on my earlier hypothesis that he always chooses the more quirky of the two. And then with Charlotte, I was really surprised. Jersey, representing, I guess. Wasn't really happy or thrilled with that in any way. So then it was Lindsay Paveo and Lee Cook, and they got Heart Shaped Box. Which, like, who knew that Christina Aguilera, like, knew that song existed? And she's so cool. Like, hello, you have one side of your head shaved. Like, I just want to be your friend. Lee was weird. Like, he just struck a weird chord with me. He was like, oh, I haven't heard the song in 10 years. Like, you wouldn't have listened to the song in between the time they gave it to you and the time that you went to practice on a phone or a tablet or a laptop. You have something with you there. I saw someone bring their, like, iPad with them into the rehearsal. Listen to it. He was totally had the phrasing wrong. Their faces were like, during the rehearsal. And Lindsay knew what she wanted to do, but I think she was like making too many changes, changing for the sake of changing it. That's a cool song. You don't have to do too much to it to make it your own, So overall, the performance was weird. At one point, I think it was the second time Lindsay sang in the verse by herself, totally changed the melody, and I couldn't understand a word she was saying. If I would have turned it on at that point, I would have had no idea what song she was singing. Lee was really off at some points. It was pretty train wreckish as a whole performance. So that's the kind of performance where you need to go back and just be like, who did I like better at the audition? For a minute, I thought they were going to pick Lee. I was like, what? But they did. They picked Lindsay, which I think will end up working out better in the end. She's going to do some good things, I think, in the live shows. I really liked her audition. I really like when people take one song and make it a totally different song. When you're, like, you don't have to change the entire melody. Go back and watch it. Watch her second verse. Unrecognizable. But she's still around, so that's good, because she's on my team, too. And lastly was my boy Jamar, and he's against Jamie Lono, who I didn't really remember from auditions till they showed the piece. Refreshing our memories. They got I Wanna Know What Love Is by Farmer, great song. And Jamie was having some definite trouble with the notes. And Jamar was not. So that must have just been really hard for Jamie to watch because he was just doing his thing. Let me tell you what, that boy can sing, and he puts legit feelings in there. He's been through a lot of shit. This by far was the most disjointed of the battles, meaning like it was so blatantly obvious who was gonna win, but then that made me worry that like they weren't gonna choose Jamar, and I made the statement and I would follow through with that. If he did not get through, I was not gonna watch anymore because it was just ridiculous. Jamie had pitch issues, he had tempo issues. Oh, you know what I meant to say? Sorry. Lindsay had the worst breath control. She was like trying to be breathy, but all you heard was like, girlfriend, you need to learn some breath control if you're gonna do whispery, wispy, stylized singing. Get those breaths out of there. Yeah, Jamie was just a mess. I mean, I couldn't even really focus on him. That's like how messy it was. I'm so sorry. Like, as soon as I started doing this video, I got like 40 times more tired than I was before I started it. It's a good thing it was pretty quick. So it was just I mean, it was a massacre up there, so I'm very glad that he won, and I can't wait to see what he does in the live round. Well, I don't have arms right now. I do have arms. I got like a stump. Anyway, as a whole, I'm not enjoying The Voice as much as I did last year. I still love it. It's harder for me to remember who is on what team because there's 12. Like a couple of people I don't remember from Hole in the Wall. I don't like the way it's taking forever. Last year for the battle rounds, one night was the battles of Adam's team versus Christina's team, and the next night was the CeeLo and Blake battle. Like they got it done quick. Taking forever. They're starting new shows on Tuesday nights on NBC. I don't know how they're gonna fit 2 nights of shows in. Starting the stupid Jessica Simpson when she was 300 pounds lighter fashion star show. I don't know. Maybe last year was just new, so like the novelty was cooler, and now it's just, like I am with American Idol. Like I love it, but I hate it at the same time. I don't know if they're like going against the grain of what they thought they liked last year because they like the judges who didn't win. Maybe they're picking differently than they would have last year. I don't know. I'm excited to get to the live shows. And I think what's also got me a little is that Javier right now, I don't feel like he's being promoted in any different way than he would have been. Like, I think his album is doing just as middle of the road as his other albums did. I don't know. I mean, Adam should have let him open. I mean, I don't know how much of the tour, like maybe done a couple songs before Gavin DeGraw on the tour this summer. Not getting radio airplay around here anyway. They might have rushed putting the album out a little bit. I mean, some of the songs I want to like them, but they just don't. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just skeptical that The Voice is really going to produce a star for me right now, But maybe I'm just tired and cranky. I do love The Voice, though, don't get me wrong. So I'm really going to try not to fall behind on my videos anymore. And yeah, still no one's commenting, so I mean, I know you're watching. I can see the counter go up. No one has anything to say. You're sitting there telling me I'm a bitch or you don't agree. So just write it. Make a response video. Something. I'm tired, so I'm out. I will check you next Monday when we have Battle Rounds number 3. And then I guess, I don't know if we'll have another battle round and then it goes live. I heard it's not going live till April, so. Or not live. It's not going double nights until April. So unless they're going to have us voting all week, which I highly doubt. We'll see. What do you think? Are your favorites still around? Do they get the boot? Are you ticked off with The Voice like I am this season? Let me know. Until then, this has been Peace, Love, and The Voice, and I hope you've enjoyed yourself. And I will see you next week. And for those of you who watch Idol, I will see you on Wednesday. See you, bye, pumpkin pie.